What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Jacob Daniel back at it again here at the Speed Kills podcast. Now, I came out with a video about the winners of the 2019 NFL draft, so I thought that I would make a video about the losers of the 2019 NFL draft on the Cincinnati Bengals. My first loser is an obvious one, and I think he's the biggest loser out of this entire draft, and that is Bobby Hart. The Bengals did sign Bobby Hart to a contract this past offseason, but it only has $5 million guaranteed, and I see our first-round pick, Jonah Williams, taking his spot at right tackle. It's either between him or Cordy Glenn, and I see Cordy Glenn as a better left tackle as Bobby Hart is as a right tackle. I don't understand why they would keep Bobby Hart there when they have Jonah Williams, unless they bump Jonah Williams into a guard spot. But I see Bobby Hart losing his spot to Jonah Williams. So that is my first loser from the 2019 NFL draft. My second loser from the 2019 NFL draft is quarterback Jeff Driscoll. Now, we saw a lot of Jeff Driscoll last year due to Andy Dalton's injury, and he played pretty well. He played okay, but with the draft pick of Ryan Finley, I don't see Jeff Driscoll keeping his backup job. I see him either dropping to quarterback 3 or getting cut from this roster. The Bengals also signed an undrafted free agent quarterback. That undrafted free agent, I can't think of his name right now, but he could just be, a rookie minicamp sign, but I definitely don't see Jeff Driscoll at least being at that quarterback number 2 spot with Ryan Finley on the roster. I wouldn't be surprised if Jeff Driscoll was cut from the Cincinnati Bengals roster, because I think a lot of people in the Bengals organization wanted Ryan Finley. And when you think about it, a 4th round pick, it's not a huge investment. It was their first pick in the 4th round out of their 3 4th round picks. So I think that it's kind of a high investment for a backup, and he is the highest quarterback of the Cincinnati Bengals drafted besides Carson Palmer and Andy Dalton. They have a lot of investment riding on Ryan Finley as a backup, and I don't see Jeff Driscoll beating Ryan Finley out for the number 2 quarterback spot. My number 3 loser from this draft, and it's not immediate, it's kind of long-term, is Giovanni Bernard. The Bengals drafted 2 6th-round running backs. See, I still see Gio being the number 2 running back behind Joe Mixon this year in 2019. It's Giovanni Bernard's last year under contract. I don't see the Bengals re-signing him for 2020. Just because of these 2 running backs that they signed. And another loser to complement Gio would be Quentin Flowers, because Quentin Flowers may get cut from the roster with both of these running backs being drafted. And that's all up to the Bengals if they want to keep, 5 running backs or not on the roster. I'm not sure if I see that happening unless Quentin Williams plays a lot of special teams, but I do see Giovanni Bernard in the long term being a loser, just because I don't think he's going to get that contract extension or a new contract, because I bet he'll want to get paid more, and they already have these 2 promising 6th-round running backs. My 4th and final loser from the 2019 NFL draft on the Cincinnati Bengals is just the defense in general. And the reason I say this is because in round 1 with the 11th pick, we were looking for a linebacker or an offensive tackle, in my opinion. In my opinion, I thought linebacker was the biggest need by the Cincinnati Bengals. That's why I was hoping either Devin White or Devin Bush would fall to us. I didn't like Devin Bush as much as I liked Devin White, but either one of those draft picks I would have been happy with. And don't get me wrong, I'm happy with the Jonah Williams pick. I truly am. First and second round pick, they didn't spend on a defensive player in general. The first defensive player they drafted was in the 3rd round with Jermaine Pratt, and I think that was a phenomenal pick. Don't get me wrong, I think Jermaine Pratt, really good value in the 3rd round. I think he'll play a lot for this defense in 2019. The only other draft picks that they had on the defense was in round 4 with Renell Wren, and he's a D tackle out of Arizona. I see him being a backup on the D line. And in the 7th round with Jordan Brown, a cornerback out of South Dakota State, I see him being down on the roster. Your 7th round pick is usually just a guy that you want that could go undrafted, but it's your guy that you want. So I see the defense as a whole as a loser here, just because they didn't have a ton of draft picks go towards the defense. That defense needs to really figure out what they're made of and what they're about. Like I said, I do think Jermaine Pratt, great pick in the 3rd round, and I think he's a really good linebacker, but we didn't invest high draft capital into any defensive players. Like in the 2018 NFL draft, the 2nd round pick was safety Jesse Bates, and that's what the 1st or 2nd round pick, that's what I consider, high draft capital on, and we didn't really invest it besides the 3rd round pick, and then we only drafted 3 defensive players. I've said it multiple times that this draft was more of an offensive draft. You know, the first 2 picks were offensive players. The 4th round started with an offensive player. 2 6th-round running backs. My bad. They also drafted a linebacker in the 6th round, but I don't see him getting that much playing time. His name's Deshaun Davis. But I see the defense overall as a loser here. That's all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for listening. Make sure to stay tuned here on the Speed Kills podcast as I'm always trying to pump out quality content for you guys. Make sure to stay tuned for the next video.